Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Recently I've been getting out more. With everything starting to open up and life sort of coming back, I've been busy doing my best to get out of the house and go places. Being vaccinated and all, I don't have to worry about getting sick or anything like that, so it's not the biggest deal for me to be outside or anything. In fact, I actually went on vacation to Cedar Point, so that was pretty fun. Which actually ties in today's topic of theme parks and Disney World. So sit back and grab yourself a Coke. I've got something to tell you. Now, I am no foreigner when it comes to Disney World. I've gone a number of times since I was little and I've stayed on property every time. I basically know the ins and outs of the park by this point. Given that my family's gone so many times, there are bound to be points that we have found some exploits that can be used to sort of give us an upper hand over the rest of the regular park goers. And those exploits are what I'm going to tell all of you today. And considering the fact that you can no longer use one of these and the other is kind of my family being little assholes, I doubt that you'll have much use for these anyway. My first exploit has to do with the Fast Pass system. If you're watching this video, more than likely you know what a Fast Pass is, but for those who don't, it's basically a system that the park has where you reserve a ride for a certain time, which then allows you to skip the line to a certain extent. All you have to do is go up to the little kiosk and then scan your card or magic band or whatever at the allotted time, and then you enter a separate line. You get the drill. It's not like it's a bad system or anything. Anyone can do this, so it's probably my favorite version of the skip the line system, so to speak. The last time I was there, we had these watches called magic bands that we would have to wear around the parks and scan in order to have the passes go through so that we could enter the line. I heard that they were changing the system to be on the phone instead, so that's why I mentioned it. But before that, when I was younger, they had the paper passes. Now these passes were kind of a bitch to get because they were in limited supply from the machines and you basically had to be there at opening time in order to get one. Needless to say, these things were in high demand and my family found a way around that. Basically, when you went up to the line to scan in your fast passes for the ride, the workers wouldn't check the date on them to see if they were still valid. Meaning that you could still stockpile a bunch of different rides from past visits that you just never got to, and you continue using them on every visit. Now the way we found this out has been lost to time, but more than likely we happened to get fast passes for ride on the day that we were at the park, and wound up accidentally using some from a past trip that were still in my parents' wallets and went through. So, as good and well-meaning citizens and park goers, we made it a point to stash as many fast passes as we could for our favorite rides so that we could use them to get constant re-rides. I'm talking like a fast pass for Space Mountain that was like 3 years older than the day we turned them in. Listen, you gotta understand, it's not our fault. It's the workers who didn't notice that the dates were messed up. Now that I think about it, they probably did notice and didn't say anything because they just didn't want to upset us and weren't paid enough to actually care. I mean, to tell you how much of these passes that we had, there's still probably a pile somewhere of almost every ride in the park, because we were bound to not have used all of them by the time that the bands were introduced. Like I said, you can't use this anymore, so it's not that big of a deal. On to my second exploit, you start to see how this can seem kind of dickish, but whatever. So one of the resort hotels in Disney World is called Saratoga Springs. It was the one that my family always stayed at, and it was a big thing with the Disney Vacation Club. And if you don't know what that is, then just don't fucking bother. I don't really get it either. But my family was a part of it, and it plays a big part in the overall story. So attached to the hotel was a spot that had to do with the Vacation Club point system where you could go to buy timeshares and whatnot. And inside of that building was a bowl full of these delicious lemon cookies, if you could call them that. They were more like crackers. And these things were exclusive to this one building. Like, we have checked everywhere in the park, you cannot get them anywhere else. And the only way to actually get the cookies inside of the building was to do business with the workers, so that made them even rarer. To combat this, my father decided it was a good idea to act like he had a medical condition in order to get us the cookies. He would walk in there with his hands up, slowly shaking like, "Can I get some water? I need to take my pills." Of course the people working there are like, "Holy shit, yeah, right away." This girl had to go get him like a cup of water and freak out like, kids, don't do this. This is an action that we in the business like to call fucking mean. And the cookies, I believe, were like sugar-free, so he would get his water and then ask, "Can I also get a couple of those cookies as well?" And they would just hand him like a bag full and wish him well. Of course, our little asses didn't give a shit about the ethics of how we got the cookies, we would just be happy to eat them. Like, we just made these workers freak out that my father was going to keel over any second now if he didn't get those goddamn cookies. All of that just to scam them because they didn't exist anywhere else. Yeah, I don't know why we're like this either. So those are two examples of how you too at home can make the lives of the common theme park worker a living hell. Looking back on all this, I can see why people may think of us in the wrong way, but we really are nice people. Sure, we do cut lines that people have been waiting hours in, and yeah, we do kind of offend people with medical conditions. But hey, at the end of the day, that's all in the past now. Do what you will with this information because I more than likely can't legally promote you doing what I just told you. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy the story, and I'll catch you later.